mistakes. I can say this because I wasn't a Hillary supporter from the beginning, and I noticed a lot of things. Okay, I mean, in Hillary's book,
Uh-huh.
she said when she and Bill left the White House, they were bankrupt. Give me a break. Would you like to change places with her? Okay, and have her bankroll? Okay, I mean, I don't think these people know what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck, hand to mouth. Okay, wondering if you're going to be able to afford braces for your children, or hey, I'll give you an example. One of the commercials on TV for a company that helps people get out of debt. All right, I think they're making a big
Uh-huh.
mistake because they're talking about an average couple, and they're saying they called us up and we were able to work it out so that they were able to maintain their lifestyle. And I'm saying to myself, stupid idiots. It was their lifestyle and spending that got them in trouble to begin with. So why should I feel sorry for them? What lesson have they learned
Right.
other than the fact that you managed to work it out so they pay 50 cents on the dollar to the people that they owe, and they're still driving a nice big SUV, okay, and the kids are still going to sleepaway camp, okay? It's they didn't have to sacrifice anything, so it works both ways. It really does. People really
Right.
don't want to sacrifice. You
Well,
know,
that's why Bernie Sanders could never win. In order for his programs to work, taxes would have to go up really high.
and Republican pundits did say that if you want the things that Bernie is talking about, you could live in a European country where, like France, where they pay 80% in taxes and they get, free maternity leave, free medical. When a woman gives birth, she has 2 weeks or a month of home health care that her husband can stay home and help with the children. you know, but it goes back to the old standard. I remember when I was in college, I had an accounting professor who was talking about when Eisenhower was president. He said the tax rate was close to 90%, you know, and nobody batted an eye, because people were saying, well, if I'm making $100,000, I guess I could live on 10,000. It's okay, because the average income
Mm-hmm.
back in the 50s was like $4,500
Equivalent.
maybe. $3,500. The average. Yeah, I remember the honeymooners when Alice is talking about Ralph's salary, and she says, your salary is 6230 a week, and Ralph says, well, why don't you scream it out so the whole apartment building knows it? So she says six, and she's yelling now, 6230 a week, 6230 a week. But I remember my dad working, and he wasn't making much more than that back in the 50s. And it seems like
Mm-hmm.
people lived better. They really did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we were, I know that these countries that have all these benefits, we got an echo.
You're getting an
You're getting
echo?
an echo?
Yeah,
That's
on my phone. Maybe it's just my phone.
No,
well, no, that's
you sound
unusual.
great
Okay.
here. You really do, but we've had that problem in the past, but nobody's really said anything about it lately.
And not for months and months.
Hmm.
Yeah.
How bad is the echo?
My end, I can hear myself right back after I say something. Let me try calling back.
That's
See if
not
I
good
can
All
hear.
either.
right, good enough. I'll
Okay,
try to see. I'll look in this and see if anything's going on.
we'll be here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new caller. In case you're just tuning in, that was Suzette LT from Santa Ana. And I must say that it's a pleasure talking with her. A first time caller. We hope she calls again in the future. Here she
Here
is.
she is. Okay.
Is this any better?
Hello. Oh, much better. Oh,
Good.
yes, much better.
I just finished telling people you're a first time caller from California, and we hope very much that you would call back in the future.
What do you do, if I may ask?
I work in healthcare as a health and health. I'm sorry. in the records department. They call it HIT, Health Information Technology, which is a fancy name for working in records.
Okay.
Okay, so you must be swamped with work because, from what I gather from friends who are doctors, that the Affordable Health Care Act has really increased the paperwork that doctors and hospitals have to go through tremendously. Is there any truth to that?
Well, I know that in the healthcare industry, we have done a lot more with, what are they called? Physician's assistants.
Yeah.
Okay.
What they do is basically the same thing as doctors do, and because there aren't as many doctors. As far as the paperwork goes, I went back to school in 2009 to learn this, and in the middle of it all, because it was so brand new, they changed the certification requirements, and of course the degree, and so everything that I had learned basically is out the window.
Oh boy.
Because they changed everything. So my degree is useless.
I certainly hope that they at
And
least
so-
were paying for your degree.
No.
Yeah.
That came out of my
See?
pocket. Yeah, I had
Uh,
researched basically what jobs would be relevant in 5 years when I decided to go back to school. And healthcare, like you were saying, was supposed to be booming because
Yeah.
of the Affordable Care Act and so forth. And so looking at the different job prospects, that one seemed to interest me the most. And I thought it had to do with the digital health records, which it does, but it's mostly, again, just records and data entry that it ended up being. But since you have to be certified by the state and then by the government, and there's all these other requirements that they threw in afterwards while in the middle of school, I would have had to retake all them courses again. So I was very upset.
I'm sure.
you see, this is what gets me. A person wants to go back to school to learn or to better themselves so that they can work in the economy the way it's set up. And no employer is willing to help out a little. You still have to pay rent. You still have to buy food. If you have a family, you still have to take care of a family.
And pay the loans.
Excuse me?
Yeah, and paying the
I
loans.
still make my loan payment.
That's right. You still have to pay back for what you already went to school for. That seems to be wasted education. Although there are people that would say no education is wasted. You always learn something.
Yeah. If they eliminate parts of the
that's true.
Obamacare, would that make a difference for you?
Well, no, because the certification would still be the same. But what I could do, though, is go to work for a hospital as an intern and hope that they can pay to have me, I guess you could say, upgraded as far as in their certification requirements that I would need to work for the hospital. But yeah, I did the FBI background check, the whole thing, so that I could work in the hospital, got all that taken care of. Yeah, so that was very disappointing. But at least once Obamacare is gone, I would be able to do the internship so that they could pay for my schooling.
Okay, now the internship you're talking about obviously would be in like the accounting department or records, medical records?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. What do you think of what does the industry think of Obamacare, Affordable Care Act, whatever?
Well, we've lost a lot of doctors, a lot of private practice doctors in the industry here. As a matter of fact, if you are on Obamacare, it's difficult to find you a doctor to go to, I guess, for your primary care. If you're lucky enough, because we would have to call in advance to see if they would accept you or not at these private practices.
Yeah.
Well, so much for if you have a doctor that you like, you can keep them, right?
Yeah.
I look, I'm a progressive, and I make no bones about it. I'm a big progressive, Bernie fan, Obama fan, and I mean, even I saw certain things that you can't help but point out that there are going to be problems And if you don't get it all has to do with numbers. If you don't get enough people to sign up, oh, a
Mhm.
dog lover. I love it. I love it. Uh,
I think
No,
that his intentions were good. I mean, as far as
oh,
wanting to help
definitely.
people with health care,
yeah,
so I get that.
yeah,
But I think that if he would have broke it down and left it up to the states individually, because to manage a nation under one health care program or health insurance program is just too massive of a project. And he discovered that after the fact. And the way it
True.
was structured was it was structured to the point to where, because I read the entire thing,
You may be the
and
only
so
person.
each each component is built upon the other. So if one is removed, then others start to fail. And so that's what was happening. And so things were starting to spiral out of control, and the money aspect of it, as far as the increase, that was always going to happen. But other things are happening with it too, along the way, because all the states didn't participate. So
That's true. Some
well,
it was,
states.
that's the same thing's going to happen if we leave it to the states. Some states are going to have health care, some aren't. You
mhm.
know,
Yeah, yeah. But originally it was supposed to, he thought all states were going to participate, and the penalty, which is called a tax because of the judge, the Supreme Court, um, was going to be actually, if a state didn't decide to participate, what he wanted to do was take away their Medicaid money in order to make them do it. But the judge said, no, you can't do that. So that's what left
You really,
the
because all you're doing
states
is hurting the people.
participating.
You're not really hurting the state itself.
the only way any of this is
Right.
going to work if the people are going to be willing to go think like a socialist state and start realizing they're going to have to pay extremely high taxes.
Well,
You know,
Yeah,
it's
I think that what people have a problem with is that it's mandated. It's a mandated, and they say tax, but it's a penalty, because if you don't have it, you're getting penalized. And they say taxed, but not everybody's taxed on it. It's only if you don't have it that you're taxed, which is you're not purchasing anything, or you are purchasing. It's bizarre.
well, look, it's just a shame that who suffers in the long run, but your
The
ordinary.
people.
That's right. The people
Yeah.
who really need it are the people who suffer in the long run. You have a.
Yeah.
I mean, over the last, let's say, 6 years or so, uh, on the news, they would one of the TV stations would run clinics in Middle America, in Ohio, in Iowa, in
West
the
Virginia.
the Rust Belt, and people would line up from the middle of like 2 o'clock in the morning, and they didn't open until, let's say, like 6 or 7, and people would
Uh
line
huh.
up, and that this is and these were people for the most part who had jobs, but their employer
Mhm.
could not afford to offer them health care because it was too costly, and they couldn't afford it on
Well,
their
we were.
own. And by the same,
Yeah.
and,
Well, we were on it by ourselves last year ourselves, and thank goodness that it was there for us to participate in. I mean, as far as that goes, because if it wasn't there, we would have been in a world of hurt.
I know my daughter said the same thing in Ohio. She and her husband, he had lost his position. He just got another position, but it took him quite a while. And for a while, they were uh, shopping around looking for something that they could afford, which would give them some sort of medical care. And then, of course, if you mention dental, none of them have dental coverage. So, I mean,
Yeah.
God forbid you should have
Yeah.
something wrong with your teeth. You're paying through the nose forever, for dental care. A root
Yeah.
canal, a simple root canal, or forget about an implant. Even people with
Mm.
insurance are paying $4,000 for an implant. Just to get a bridge. You know, I mean, my favorite joke was whenever I got a bridge, I said I'm going to charge admission every time I open my mouth to eat. You know,